Hi friends, in this video I want to tell you all the things you should have on your person or in your pack if you're starting your first season as a NICA cross-country mountain bike student athlete, or if you're new to mountain biking in general and you want to be prepared out there on the trails. This is the list that we require of our kids that we work with, both on our local high school NICA team and our off-season mountain bike club. The first thing you'll need is obviously a mountain bike, but choosing the right bike is a big topic, and that's beyond the scope of this video. But if you want me to do a video about choosing the right NICA bike, let me know in the comments and maybe we'll cover that subject next. After you've got your bike, the next most important purchase is a helmet. Your brain is right up there on the top 3 list of most important things inside your body that's good to keep in a working order, so I've heard. So let's not leave protecting our brain to chance. There are a few things here that I'd recommend. The thing about helmets is they are made to collapse on impact, so it's a really bad idea to use an old or used helmet. We always say that helmets expire after 5 years, and it's a bad idea to use helmets that have been involved in a crash before. So if you're new to the sport, do yourself and your head and your brain a favor, get yourself a new helmet. There are a few things that you should look for cross-country mountain bike helmets in particular. You'll want to have good coverage over the forehead and the back of the skull. Road bike helmets are insufficient as they do not offer enough rear protection, but full face helmets like what you might use in downhill mountain biking are not recommended because they inhibit breathing and add unnecessary weight. BMX helmets are also not great because they don't have the breathability. And additionally, a lot of newer helmets come equipped with rotational technology like MIPS technology, which BMX helmets do not have usually. Most every helmet is obviously designed to reduce impact that is direct, but some impacts are rotational and can cause severe brain injury due to the effect that it has on the brain in a rotational way, even if the helmet collapses properly. So with MIPS or similar technology, if you have a floating inner shell in the helmet which allows it to rotate with the head, this will limit that type of brain injury. I have links to a couple really good helmets in the description that will work for any budget. Next, a good pair of gloves is a really good idea. Gloves will protect your hands against bushes and other obstacles. They'll keep you warm in those frigid mornings, and they're also often the first line of defense when you take a fall. Additionally, you can easily lose your grip if your hands get sweaty in endurance sports. Also, you'll want your gloves to be full finger gloves for extra protection, none of these half finger roadie gloves. And it can be a good idea to get use-specific gloves, so like a helmet, it's a smart idea to get some reliable gloves. Again, I've got links in the description to some gloves that have worked well for my kids. Now that we've got a bike and we're properly protecting our body, it's time to get prepared with all the things we need to carry with us. And for these supplies, I've got great news for you. You can get this whole kit directly from me at a hefty discount if you buy it all together. Use the link on the screen or in the description to go to my store and use the discount code NICA to get 15% off this full kit. The first and most important part of this kit is your hydration pack that will obviously hold your hydration, but also all the little things that need to go in the pack. It's not a small list of things you need to be prepared with, and sometimes people get worried about the weight of packs, thinking that all this gear is going to slow them down on the cross-country rides. But as a NICA student athlete, really the only time you want to worry about that is at the race, where yeah, I wouldn't necessarily bring a pack with all the stuff in it. Races are different. But during practice, it's better to have what you need with you, and a bit of extra weight won't hurt, but rather will offer you some additional resistance for your workout. So don't skimp on the list. Make sure you have everything so you're prepared when inevitably things go wrong. And then you're not a burden to others. Part of being a responsible athlete is being prepared and self-sufficient. So anyway, when it comes to hydration bags, you'll need one that will fit at least 70 ounces or 2 liters of water. That's what you'll need for a 2-hour ride in the hottest times of the year. So that's worst case scenario. Obviously, you're not going to fill that hydration pack all the way up if it's a cold morning ride, but you'll definitely want that 70 ounce minimum capacity for when things heat up, depending on where you live and ride. You'll also want a bag with enough space for all your tools and consumables, and in my experience, you'll need at least an 8-liter bag. Less than that and things might get tight. The one I sell and recommend is the Evoc Ride 8, which of course comes with and has room for your 2-liter or 70-ounce bladder, has plenty of pockets for all your equipment, has 2 straps in the front, and it's just a good looking bag. Nothing will ruin your ride or your day out on the mountain faster than getting yourself stuck with a flat tire and no way to get that tire unflat. This is the most common mechanical issue you will face on the mountain, but it doesn't have to ruin your day. And this is why the best way to manage the risk of flatting is with multiple layers of redundancy. This way, no matter what happens, no matter what approach you might take to fix the flat, if it fails, you have backups. And this goes for if you run tubes in your tires or if you run tubeless. If you do run tubeless, I want to show you my new favorite way of dealing with punctures that don't quickly self-heal from sealant, and that's the Stan's Dart. Some people use bacon strips on punctures in tubeless tires, and I used to use those also, but bacon strips are a lot more fiddly to insert. They're sticky and sometimes they just don't want to stay, and then you have to clip them when you've got them in there. The Dart doesn't have those drawbacks. They're fast, they require no trimming, and for a NICA racing kid, having these and becoming familiar with their use is going to serve you better in the long run. It can make what could, in many instances, be a race killer turn into a minor inconvenience with how fast you can get back on the trails again with the Dart. But even if you do run tubeless, you should still pack tubes in your bag, and not just one, but two, just to be safe. Sometimes, even enjoying the benefits of self-healing tubeless tires, you'll have something happen which will be nearly impossible to recover from with your tubeless setup. And sometimes maybe you could recover from it, but it would take too long to figure out, and throwing a quick tube in your tire can get you back on the trails fairly quickly. And if you think that's never going to happen twice in the same ride, well, I hope that's true for you, but in many years of riding, it has happened to me and many student athletes I've ridden with many times. When it comes to tubes, it's best to ensure you purchase tubes that match your wheel size. They will be 26-inch, 27.5, or 29. But just make absolutely sure your spare tubes are Presta and not Schrader. I've made the mistake of loading Schrader valve tubes in my pack, not realizing it was Schrader, and that turned out to be worthless when it came time to use that tube on the trail. Of course, to get the tubes in to begin with, you're going to need some good tire levers or tire irons, but make sure you get some good substantial levers, none of these cheap things. These bendy, cheap tire levers can break. I've actually had these break off and then get stuck and rattle around inside the tubeless tire before, and that's just annoying. Avoid that. Get some thick boys, like these ones that come in the kit that I sell. When it comes to pumps, CO2 pumps are of course very nice. You can pack this super light CO2 air chuck and a few CO2 cartridges up, and these are the type of things you definitely want to have in races also. They're fast, they're easy, and usually most efficient way to get your bike business side down again. You just thread the cartridge onto the chuck, and then the chuck releases air when it's pressed onto the tire valve. But this isn't always the most economical way to go. If you're not in a hurry, not in a race or anything, sometimes you just want to use a hand pump. And in addition to that, no matter how many of the CO2 cartridges you have, there will be times when you find yourself having used them all on the trail anyway. So for both of those reasons, you absolutely have to have a portable hand pump on your person. When it comes to hand pumps, they aren't fun to use. They're a special kind of hell on the side of the trail, but they're just necessary. The one that I sell in my kit fits great into an 8-liter pack, and it's not all that much weight. Finally, the last line of defense for getting yourself recovered from a flat is a patch kit. Again, even if you ride tubeless, you should have tubes as backups, and you should have patch kits as backups to those tubes in case all else fails. These are light, cheap, take up very little space in your pack, and there is just no reason not to have one with you. For trailside repairs, I like glueless patches. They're a lot less messy and they get the job done. You'll definitely need a multi-tool in your pack. A good multi-tool has at least 4 things. It has your basic lineup of Allen wrench sizes, it has a T or Torx wrench, it has a Phillips screwdriver, and it will have a chain tool built in. This will get you through 90% of the fixes and adjustments you'll need to do on your bike, even in your garage. There just aren't a whole lot of things you won't be able to work out trailside with this sort of multi-tool. Some people elect to keep the wrench set and chain tool separate, and that's fine, but I find it's better to keep it all in one tool in one location. And finally, speaking of a chain tool, a very common mechanical issue you'll face on the trail is broken chains. Often the fastest way to recover from broken chains is by using Quicklinks or Masterlinks. But getting the correct Quicklink or Masterlink can be confusing. There are different sizes depending on what type of drivetrain that you have. To figure this out, simply count the number of chain rings on your rear cassette. The number will correspond to the type of Quicklink you'll need. So 12 rings will need a 12-speed Quicklink, 11, 10, and so forth. But for 9 and lower, good news here, these sizes will all be the same, including single speed. So I don't include Quicklinks in the kit that I sell because these are going to be different depending on what type of drivetrain you have. So be sure to use the link below to order the right Quicklink size for your bike, for your chain. While I usually pack chain lube in my trail bag, that's mostly because I coach and I can hear when student athletes have not been taking care of their chains, and helping them with some trailside chain maintenance is better than nothing. So you don't necessarily need to pack chain lube with you, but you definitely need to take care of your chain. Clean your drivetrain regularly and lube it regularly. Preferably, you'll clean and lube your chain at least 12 hours before your next ride. So you'll want to make sure you have plenty of lube on hand. Whether you keep the lube in your bag or not depends on how good you are at remembering to lube your chain before practice. The lube I sell in my kit is Muck Off All-Weather Lube. This is the stuff I recommend for kids or newer riders, so they don't have to worry about all the various types of lubes that they could use for different weather conditions. This just works for everything, rain or shine, and it's just nice to not have to worry about that too much. When you apply the lube, you'll want the chain to be as clean as possible first. You'll then apply it to the inside of the chain, just enough to saturate the inside of each ring. Again, ideally you'll have done this the night before practice or race, but in my experience, it's better to still apply the lube even on the trail than ride on a bone-dry chain, as it will get damaged without any lube. Finally, the last item is a bike light. This one is super affordable and will get you out of a sticky situation. I always pack a bike light, as there have been plenty of times we've run into problems and gotten back really late from the trails. Again, it's really light and there's just no reason not to have one in your pack. Other things you may consider, I always pack extra nutrition, as it's common for someone in the ride group to need some quick extra calories if a ride is taking longer than expected, or if someone, including me, is not feeling well, feeling more depleted than usual. This will be a quick pick-me-up. I also pack a small first aid kit. Not essential for everyone in your group to have one, but it's great to have for obvious reasons. It can also be a good idea to pack a few zip ties and a small roll of duct tape rolled up on itself. These can help re-secure things that go wrong on your bike and get things MacGyvered back together to at least get yourself or others off the trail. But that's all. Again, use the link on your screen and the discount code NICA to get most everything that you'll need at a great discount and ensure yourself and your little shredder is prepared for anything. But that's all I've got for you for now. Whether you're new to the sport and you found this helpful, or you just like watching videos about bikes, I hope you enjoyed this one. We'll talk to you again real soon.